The glass hit the wall before he even realized he had thrown it. It shattered loudly, pieces scattering across the floor as Jason stood there, chest rising and falling, his phone still glowing in his hand. "I'm sorry, we have to let you go." The email was still open, still real, still final. Behind him, Marbell's voice came sharp, already laced with frustration. "So what are you going to do now?" He didn't turn immediately. He just stared at the broken pieces on the floor, as if somehow they could rearrange themselves back into something whole. "I'll figure it out," he said finally, his voice low. "You said that last week," she replied. That was the moment everything began to fall apart. Just 2 months earlier, life had been stable. Not perfect, but steady. Jason had a decent job at a logistics company. Nothing flashy, but enough to cover rent, support his home, and plan for a future. He and Marbell had routines, Sunday dinners, late-night talks, shared laughter over small things. He believed in that life. He believed in her. And more importantly, he believed she believed in him too. But belief has a way of fading when money disappears. The first few days after he lost his job, Marbell tried. She really did. She cooked more often, checked on him, even encouraged him when he stayed up late applying for jobs. "You'll get something," she told him one night, resting her head on his shoulder. "You always do." He smiled then. He believed her. But weeks passed, then months. Emails sent, interviews attended, rejections received. Again, and again, and again. And slowly, the tone in the house began to shift. "You're always on that laptop," Marbell complained one afternoon. "Are you even getting responses?" "I am trying, Marbell," Jason said, rubbing his temples. "This isn't easy." "I didn't say it was easy," she snapped. "But doing the same thing every day and expecting a different result? What is that?" He looked at her then, surprised by the sharpness in her voice. "What do you want me to do?" he asked. "Magic?" She didn't answer. She just walked away. That silence said more than words ever could. Not long after, her family got involved. It started with subtle comments. "So, any good news yet?" her mother asked over dinner, her tone too sweet to be genuine. "I'm still applying," Jason replied politely. Her father leaned back in his chair, studying him. "A man should always have a backup plan." Jason forced a smile. "Yes, sir." But the comments didn't stop there. They grew bolder, sharper, more direct. One evening, after another job rejection, Jason returned home exhausted, only to find Marbell sitting with her parents in the living room. They were waiting for him. "We need to talk," her father said. Jason already knew this wasn't going to be good. "You've been unemployed for months," the man continued. "What exactly is your plan?" "I've been applying." "Applying is not enough," her mother cut in. "Our daughter didn't marry a man who sits around hoping for miracles." Jason clenched his jaw. "With all due respect, I'm doing everything I can." "Clearly it's not working," her father replied coldly. Jason looked at Marbell. She didn't meet his eyes. That hurt more than anything. "I'm trying," he said again, this time softer. Marbell finally spoke, her voice quiet but firm. "Trying isn't paying the bills, Jason." There it was, the line that changed everything. He swallowed hard. "So, what are you saying?" She hesitated. For a second, he hoped she would choose him, but she didn't. "I didn't sign up for this kind of life," she said. The words hung in the air like a verdict. Jason nodded slowly, as if accepting a sentence he didn't deserve. "I see," he said. And just like that, the foundation of his life cracked. The arguments became frequent after that. Small things turned into big fights. Silence replaced laughter. Respect turned into resentment. Until one night, she packed her bags. "I need space," she said, avoiding his eyes. "Space?" he repeated. "Or an exit?" She didn't answer. That was answer enough. The door closed behind her, and Jason stood there, alone. That night, the house felt empty in a way it never had before. Not just physically, emotionally, spiritually, everything. He sat on the floor, back against the wall, staring at nothing. His phone buzzed. He picked it up, hoping, just hoping it was her. It wasn't. It was another rejection email. He laughed, a dry, hollow sound. Then he checked his account balance. 3,200 naira. That was all he had left. No job, no wife, no support. Just 3,200 naira, and a silence that felt louder than any noise. Days passed, then weeks. He stopped expecting calls, stopped expecting messages. Even friends began to fade away. "Guy, I've been busy," one told him over the phone. "We'll link up soon." They never did. Jason started questioning everything, his worth, his decisions, his future. One afternoon, sitting in the same dim room, he stared at his reflection in a cracked mirror. "Who are you now?" he whispered. The man staring back didn't have an answer. Then, out of nowhere, his phone rang. He almost didn't pick it up. "Hello?" "Jason, where have you been, man?" the voice burst through. It was Frank. For the first time in weeks, Jason felt something shift. "I've just been dealing with stuff," he replied. "I heard about your job," Frank said, "and everything else." Jason sighed. "Yeah." There was a pause, then Frank spoke again. "There's a seminar this weekend, finance, tech, business, things like that. You should come." Jason frowned. "Seminar? I can't even afford food right now. You're talking about seminar?" "I'll cover it," Frank said immediately. "No, I'm not asking," Frank cut him off. "I'm telling you, just show up." Jason hesitated. He didn't believe in things like that. Seminars, motivational talks, big promises. But at this point, what did he have to lose? "All right," he said quietly. "I'll come." That decision would change everything.
Hey there, are you enjoying this story so far? Kindly like, subscribe, and drop your comments below. Thank you.
The seminar hall was packed. Different speakers took turns talking about opportunities in the digital world, online businesses, tech services, remote work. Most of it sounded too good to be true, until one session caught his attention. Forex trading. Charts filled the screen, numbers moved rapidly. The speaker talked about currencies, global markets, and how people were making money from price movements. Jason leaned forward. Something about it felt different. After the session, he didn't leave. He stayed behind, asking questions. "How long does it take to learn this?" he asked. "It depends on you," the speaker replied. "Some people take months. Some quit before they understand it." "Is it risky?" "Everything worth doing is." That night, Jason couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about it. Forex. For the first time in a long time, he felt curiosity, hope. The next day, he made a decision. He would learn it. But there was one problem: money. He stared at the course price on his phone, his stomach tightening. He didn't even have enough for food. How was he supposed to afford this? He almost closed the page, almost gave up. Then his phone rang again. Frank. "You went quiet after the seminar," Frank said. "What's on your mind?" Jason hesitated. Then he told him everything. "The course isn't even that expensive," Jason said quietly. "But I just don't have it." There was silence on the other end. Then Frank spoke. "Send me the details." Jason frowned. "For what?" "Just send it." A few minutes later, Jason sent the link, not expecting anything. Then, ping! A credit alert. Jason froze. "Frank, what is this?" "Buy the course," Frank said simply. No, I can't take this." "Yes, you can," Frank replied firmly. "And you will." Jason swallowed hard. "What if I fail?" "Then you fail," Frank said. "But at least you won't be stuck wondering what could have happened." Jason didn't speak. His throat tightened. Nobody had believed in him like this in a long time. "I won't waste it," he said finally. "I know," Frank replied. That moment meant everything. The next 3 months were brutal. Jason treated it like life or death, because to him, it was. He woke up early, studied charts, watched videos, practiced endlessly, and lost, again and again. "Maybe this isn't for me," he muttered one night after another losing trade. But then he remembered Frank's sacrifice, the silence of that empty house, the look on Marbelle's face, the words from her parents. Failure was no longer an option. "I can't go back," he told himself, "not like this." So he kept going, day after day, night after night. Then one morning, everything changed. He saw a setup, clean, clear. He entered the trade. His heart pounded as the chart moved. Up, down, up again. He held his breath. Then, profit. He stared at the screen. $1,000. He didn't move, didn't blink. It didn't feel real. Slowly, he clicked withdraw. When the confirmation came through, he leaned back and laughed. Not loudly, not wildly, but deeply. Because for the first time in months, he saw a way out. From that moment, something shifted inside him. He became disciplined, focused, obsessed with improvement. He joined prop firms, scaled his capital, managed risks better, and slowly his account grew. Months turned into a year turned into more. Jason didn't just trade anymore, he invested. Real estate, small businesses, opportunities others ignored. He built, quietly, relentlessly. Until one day, he wasn't the man people pitied anymore. He was the man people wanted to learn from. Years later, Jason stood on a stage, confident, composed, speaking to a room full of people. "Your situation is temporary," he told them, "but your decision to quit can be permanent." The crowd listened intently. Some took notes, others just stared in awe. Backstage, his phone buzzed. A message request. Unknown number. He opened it. "I saw your video. Can we talk?" He froze. Marbelle. For a moment, memories rushed back. The laughter, the arguments, the silence. Then he exhaled and locked his phone. That chapter was closed. But she wasn't done. A few days later, she showed up, standing in front of him, tears in her eyes. "I made a mistake," she said.
How can you just
Jason looked at her calmly. "I know," he replied.
We can
"I didn't know you would become this," she continued, her voice shaking.
fix this.
He tilted his head slightly. "Would you have stayed if you knew?" She couldn't answer. That silence told him everything. "I want us back," she whispered. Jason shook his head gently. "I became this," he said, "because you left." Her tears fell freely now. "Please," he sighed. "I've moved on." And it was true. Just 1 month earlier, he had started a new chapter, a new life, one that didn't include her. She stood there, broken by the reality she couldn't change. And Jason? He walked away, not with anger, not with pride, but with peace. Because sometimes, losing everything is exactly what you need to find who you're meant to become. If this story moved you, don't just scroll past. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling me what part hit you the hardest.